Hello and welcome to the Cruise Files. I'm Cheryl Baker, and in this programme we aim to inspire and educate about the wonderful world of cruise holidays. In this edition, we're exploring why cruising has become so popular with British holidaymakers. And here to share his thoughts is Mike Hall, Marketing Director of Cruise and Maritime Voyages. Hey Mike, how are you?
I'm very well, Cheryl, and you?
Yeah, I'm good, I'm good. Happy to be talking cruises.
Cruise, yeah,
I love it, I love it.
Talk about.
More people than ever are choosing to cruise, aren't they? Why do you think that is?
They certainly are. There's 1.8 million UK and Irish people chose to cruise last year, which is a colossal number. And I think that's because there's so many more ships being built, giving people so much choice. You can cruise almost from your doorstep now, so it's very accessible. And the fact that you can visit so many places in one holiday. Fabulous.
You can, of course you can. But the thing is, a lot of people who haven't cruised still think that it's out of their reach. And it isn't anymore, is it?
It certainly isn't. What you must do is assess the value. And when you consider what's included, your transportation, your accommodation, all your meals, activities, entertainment, you add all that up and you can see it is tremendous value for money. The best value for money of any holiday type.
I totally agree with you. But do you think cruising is for everybody?
I think there's a cruise ship for everyone.
Yeah.
Because, you know, years ago cruise ships were all of a type. But now there are small ships, medium ships, big ships. So there really is something for everyone, and same with destinations. If you want the Med or the Caribbean for sunshine, fine. If you don't, you want something more cultural, like the Baltic capitals. Really, something for everyone.
Another myth is that it's only for the elderly. Maybe that used to be. Maybe it used to be for the rich and famous or the elderly. It's not anymore, is it?
No, it really is accessible to everyone. And as I say, with the new mega ships that are built now, they do cater for a younger audience. Families, you know, there's kids clubs. But don't forget about the older people. I mean, it's true to say that within the next couple of years, there'll be more people over the age of 50 in the UK than under. So it's a massive market. And today's 50, 60, 70-year-olds, they've holidayed for many, many years. And they're much fitter, they're much more agile than people of that demographic were 10 or 20 years ago.
Well, it's true. It's true. Yeah, we've only got to look at our own parents and our own grandparents.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
That 60 is the new 40, in my opinion.
Correct.
You know, but there are the mega ships that are great for families, and there are the smaller ships that maybe are more intimate. Do you think that they also cater for teenagers?
Oh, indeed they do. There are ships, particularly the larger ships, that will have kids clubs, they'll have teen centres, so that they have a range of activities for younger people. And
the great thing as well is that there are so many ports in the UK now where you can cruise.
Oh,
so you don't have to fly cruise, you can actually cruise, you know, from your nearest port of call.
Absolutely. And the advantages of that, it takes all the stress away. Most people are accessible to a port probably within 50, 60 miles of where they live. And you arrive there, check in, step on board, your luggage is delivered to your cabin, and your holiday started.
Yeah.
There's no having to travel to the airport, queuing, maybe the flight's delayed, that terrible feeling when you arrive the other end of whether or not your luggage is going to come off the carousel or not. All of that's gone.
Yeah, and presumably as well, when it's a UK port, you don't have the problem of only 20 kilos, or, you know, you can take
as many pairs of shoes as you like, Cheryl.
And I would. It's opening up the world of, you know, the cruising is taking people to places they never dreamt of.
It is, to places that are quite inaccessible any other way.
Now, when you're on board ship, generally you can book an excursion, or you can do your own thing, or you can stay on board. It's not written in stone, is it?
No, absolutely not. If you don't want to disembark, you just want to stay on the ship for the day, absolutely fine. There'll still be things going on. If you want to travel, as we call, independently, so you step off the ship and you choose to do whatever you want to do, that's absolutely fine, as long as you get back to the ship on time. But many people will choose to take the tours because they will take you carefully to the best places to see. You'll have the benefit of a local guide that will give you more about the history and culture of the place you're going to. So it's entirely up to you what you do.
How about, from your point of view, the destinations that you've visited? Have you got a favourite?
Oh gosh, that's a difficult
That's a hard
isn't
one.
it? It's a difficult one. I think in many respects the Norwegian fjords, they hold a special place.
They're stunning, aren't they?
They are stunning, and it is very accessible from the UK. And once you're there, to be on deck and to stand there and see this majestic scenery around you, you know, snow-capped mountains, tumbling waterfalls, these little quaint little villages, it's really stunning, it's beautiful.
Would you recommend that as a first-time cruise?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would, because you can, from a UK port, you can cruise to the fjords.
How long does it take to get there?
It will be a day cruising up there and a day cruising back. So you'll have 2 days at sea.
Right.
But the rest of the time, and of course anyone that thinks, oh, you know, will I get seasick? That's the minimum of time where you're at sea. But the rest of the time you're going to be in fjords.
Yeah, yeah.
So
which is like a mill pond.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So it's a good benchmark cruise, a good starter.
So tell me about cabins or staterooms, because they have different names for them, don't they? Let's break it down.
Obviously, the first thing to consider with cabins is whether you want an inside cabin or an outside cabin.
Yeah.
An inside cabin will not have any natural light. An outside cabin will.
But presumably you book an inside because it's cheaper?
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going on a short cruise, very often younger people, they're really not that bothered, and hey, how much time are you going to spend in your cabin? But if you're going on a longer cruise, and again going back to the fjords where you can see this spectacular scenery as you go along, you may feel, no, I will pay a little bit more to have an outside cabin, maybe a cabin with a balcony where I can sit there and see that scenery. So there are considerations, but but certainly the cabin sizes generally won't differ a great deal, but whether it's an inside or an outside. As I say, if you want to spoil yourself with having a larger cabin, then one with a balcony, a suite may give you a separate living space from bed space. So there's something for everyone and every budget.
I had breakfast this morning in the B&B where I was staying, and I was talking about what I was going to do today, and the lady in the B&B said, oh, well, it's not for me, cruising's not for me. And I said, why? She went, oh, I'd get bored. And I think that's the trouble. Some people have this opinion that once you're on ship, there's nothing to do. And of course, it's quite the opposite, isn't it?
Absolutely. Compared with a hotel, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Tell me about solo travellers. Are they catered for?
Yeah, it's a growing market. People say solos, say singles, and people think of, again, elderly people left on their own. But there's a lot of people, you know, sadly in their 30s, 40s, marriages break up, they find themselves on their own, and it's a fantastic holiday to do on your own.
Hold that thought, because we're going to come back in a little while. Don't go anywhere. We'll be chatting more with Mike in just a few minutes after this quick break. Hello and welcome back to the Cruise Files. Mike Hall from Cruise and Maritime Voyages is still with me. Now, Mike, we were talking about solo travellers. What about if you're disabled?
If anyone has a disability, please discuss that through your travel agent, what the nature of that disability is. Generally, much older ships weren't built to cater so much for people with disabilities, so you need to be a little bit more careful. But the more modern ships now, yes, they are. They're
loads of lifts.
Lifts, and bigger, wider corridors so moving around is not so much of a problem. But as I say, always flag it up to your travel agent, flag it up to the cruise line and discuss it with them, and then you won't be disappointed, you won't have problems, it'll be seamless and you'll have an enjoyable holiday.
Well, let's talk about activities on board, because some of the ships are getting so innovative now, aren't they? So what kind of things can you expect on board ship?
I mean, there's just about everything now. They're building cruise ships with wave machines, with ice skating rinks, with ice bars. I mean, there's just absolutely everything. And it's great, it's absolutely fantastic. But some ships are, don't have that. They're more medium size or smaller, tend to appeal to a slightly older demographic who kind of don't want those types, they're not going to get up a climbing wall or whatever. But they still want things on board, which is things like quizzes, they want to play bridge, they want a dance class, they want to hear a guest speaker talk about something, those types of activities. Some like keep fit. So again, it's choosing the right ship and the right cruise line that's going to offer the sorts of activities that you want to.
Yeah, because I mean the mega ships have got so much going on.
So much. And if you're, if your family, you've got teenagers, I mean, you're never going to see the kids or the teenagers, which is great if you're a parent. They're going to thoroughly enjoy everything that's on there.
Yeah.
But
the smaller ships are more intimate, and I actually personally I think I'm a small ship person. Yeah, I prefer that. Now, they say on average you put on half a stone in a week or on a cruise. What if you're worried about your waistline? What can you do about fitness thing? You mentioned the Keep Fit classes.
Yeah, there are Keep Fit classes. What tends to happen, people, when the first few days, they absolutely binge. They'll eat every meal, everything that's going. But you can't sustain. You really cannot sustain that. So you start then to moderate what you eat. But we have a healthy eating plan on board, so there's always healthy options. So there's no great excuse for putting on half a stone.
No, I know. But it's very difficult not to.
It's very tempting when this food keeps coming out and coming out.
And it's always so. The food on the ships is phenomenal, isn't it?
I can honestly say it doesn't matter which cruise line you go with. The standards of food on cruise ships is really fantastic.
Yeah. Some of the cruise liners as well, they have a jogging track, don't they?
They do.
On one of the...
They do.
On one of the decks.
And some of the smaller, older ships, they have what we would call a promenade deck that goes all the way around. So you can walk all the way around the ship or run all the way around the ship. Some of the modern ships don't have that because they have all balcony cabins, so they don't have that where you can go the whole way around the ship.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like when you can do that.
Yeah.
So how do you pre-plan your day on board ship?
Well, the first thing is to read your daily programme. Now, all cruise lines do this. It will be delivered to you the evening before. So have a look through there. It will tell you exactly what's going on, what the meal times are, when the bars are open, all the entertainment options, activities. If it's a port day and not a sea day, then very importantly, what time we're going to get there, what time the excursions are going to depart. So your programme, make sure in the morning when you get up, go to breakfast, take your programme, look through the programme while you're having your breakfast, and then you won't miss out on something.
And I think that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
I've been on so many cruises with my sister and we do exactly that. We go for breakfast and we go, right, now, what should we do? I love that. I love that. And sea days, of course, that's when the entertainments team really pull the stops out because they have to keep you occupied, if you want to be occupied, all day, don't they?
Yeah, and very often, I don't know about you, but I'm like, oh, do I go to this? Or no, because I'll miss that if I go to... And because there's so much on.
Yeah, hopefully though, they'll do more than one show, you know.
Yes,
and,
yes,
I don't know if it's the same with speakers, but the speakers, they are so interesting. I never thought that I'd want to go and watch someone speak, because I like to be, you know, I like jazz hands, but you know, they get great speakers on, and especially if it's maybe a cloudy day.
Yes.
You know, that's the time when you're not laying out in the sun, and you go and watch a speaker and think, oh, we should have done this before.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So it's worth squashing the misconception, isn't it,
Absolutely.
that you have to take part in everything.
You do exactly what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's your holiday and you do exactly what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's there if you want it, if you don't want it. There's plenty of places where you can sit, have a read and chill out.
We talked about food and the fact that there's so much of it. Tell me about the types of food that you could expect on a ship.
Well, you will have breakfast, of course. You will have lunch.
But what breakfast? I mean, are we looking at the Great British Fry-Up?
Yes, there'll be a cooked breakfast, continental choices, absolutely whatever you want.
So you will have the normal and continental breakfast,
yes, of course,
options with cereals and
absolute cereals, fruit.
And then is it finished until lunch?
And then yes, finished until lunch. Lunch generally you can. There's a choice. You can have. You can eat in the buffet restaurant, or you can have waiter service in the main restaurant. Choice is yours. That would be a 4-course lunch, and that, depending on the weather. If the weather's good, people will have the buffet, sit outside. If it's not so good, then they'll probably go into the main restaurant. Afternoon tea, of course.
That's lovely. Afternoon tea is a treat.
That's really nice. Because you don't have time for that at home, do you?
No, of course not. Or waistline.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really nice. And, you know, sandwiches and cakes and scones and cream and jam. And then, of course, your evening meal. Again, 5-course meal. And then there'll be late night snacks.
You literally could eat almost the entire day.
You could.
Oh, my word. Honestly, thank goodness there's a gym. Not that I ever go.
And you know what, Cheryl, the thing I always think is, if you're on a land-based holiday, if you haven't got food included in the hotel, and then you're, oh, where should we eat tonight?
Yeah.
And then there's all this umming and ahhing and this restaurant and wandering to that one and what have you. Whereas with this, it's there.
Yeah.
And there's so much choice. And it just makes it all just so convenient.
Yeah, it is convenient. And you haven't got to get a taxi.
No.
So what about if you have special dietary requirements?
No problem at all. Again, make sure you flag that up to your travel agent or your cruise line to say what any dietary requests that you have, and they'll take care of it. Absolutely take care of it for you.
Plus, there's also speciality restaurants in lots of these.
Yes, that gives people an alternative. In most cases, there's a small supplement to use those restaurants. There'll be slightly more fine dining. Some cruise lines have a chef's table. And you will have the opportunity to be taken into the galley and shown around the galley.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah. Galley being kitchen, of course.
Kitchen, of course, yeah. And then the chef's table, which will probably take about 20 guests. Again, there's a supplement for that. And that's an extensive menu. We're talking, you know, perhaps 7 courses. They'll scale down the portions for this, and there'll be selected wines to go with it. The chef that will probably flambe a dish. It's very, very nice, particularly if it's a special occasion, someone's anniversary, birthday, something like that. Very nice, very nice thing to do.
So let's talk about what is typically included then on a cruise.
Well, pretty much everything. So your accommodation, your entertainment, activities, all your meals, bar drinks will be extra. And shore excursions, if you take them, will be extra.
And so, as you said earlier, some specialty restaurants you pay a supplement for.
Yeah, exactly.
But everything else, it's a phenomenal deal, isn't it? It really is.
It's a great deal. Because they're optional, you don't have to do those.
And how do you pay on board?
It's a cashless system. So you have a card you present when you purchase anything, and that's charged to an on-board account, and you settle that at the end of your cruise. If you lodge a credit card, debit card at the beginning of your cruise, that will just be charged automatically. At the end of the cruise, you receive the bill, and that's it.
And is that the card that you also get on and off the ship with? So that's right. So you mustn't lose that card.
Don't lose that card.
And what should people wear on board? Is it still the stuffy? You don't have to wear formal every night, do you?
No, and I think it's still the most asked question. I think it's still the most asked question. Formal nights, informal nights and casual. And it will tell you in the programme what it's going to be for that day. So, formal, black tie, cocktail dresses for the ladies. You don't have to wear a dinner jacket. If a lounge suit with a tie is perfectly acceptable, but we still find that there are a lot of passengers that like that opportunity to dress up.
I am one of those people.
Meet the captain. It's something quite unique to cruising, and there's not that many opportunities where people can get dressed up like that these days.
True.
So that is there, but that'll only be on a 7-night cruise. It'll be on a couple of nights. Then there'll be informal nights, which will be smart shirt without a tie, jacket like I've got on,
but
and then casual.
If you prefer to go casual, you can just go to the buffet.
You can go to the buffet.
Yeah.
So if you're on the formal
night,
I say
buffet.
Yeah, you can.
You say banana. I say banana.
That's absolutely
the
fine.
last question. Mr. and Mrs. I've never cruised before are sitting watching this. How are you going to entice them onto a cruise?
Well, you have to try it. You just have to try it, and you'll think, gosh, this is fabulous. This is really fabulous.
I think it's, once you try it, you won't go back. No. And I bet the hotels are very concerned about it. I really do. Mike, thank you so much for talking to me.
You're very welcome.
And thanks to you for your company. I'll see you again next time with more from the Cruise Files.